Shalom. It's your brother Malcolm from Chicago GMS Camp, coming at you with another episode of Truth. All right, and I first and foremost want to give all thanks and honor, glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, it's the name of the Heavenly Father and His mighty Son, our Savior. All right, and I'd like to give double honors to the apostles of GMS who labored in this truth for 30 plus years, carrying on the message of the men that came before them. All right, who were definitely men of the Lord, okay, and bringing this truth to Israel and to the awakening of Israel, and to you brothers who are doing this work in truth and sincerity, all right, risking your lives and your freedom to do so, all right, making edifying videos that are building up Israel. To you brothers, I say shalom, okay. I'm going to start off in a book. This is going to be a quick lesson. I'm going to really start getting back into history, you know, edifying Israel through history, because that's my lot, and I've kind of gotten away from it with all the things that have been going on in Israel. That's kind of drew me away, but not anymore. I'm going to just stick to what the Most High gave me. All right, but I'm going to start in Baruch 2:30, and it says, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they will remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord their power, and I will give them an heart and ears to hear." All right? "And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name." And there's a huge awakening happening of the Israelites, man. Okay? We've been laboring in this truth, man, and not realizing that more people are listening to us than we than we thought, man. Jake is actually waking up, man. Celebrities and athletes included. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of back when, in 2007, when I was in the truth, the brothers rocking their beards, and now all of a sudden it's become all these rappers and all these athletes started rocking their beards. Well, the truth of the matter is they were watching Israelite videos, because, you weren't seeing a lot of the other sects, these different black power things and that whole sort of thing, because Muslims, the nation of Islam, they go bald faced like the enemy does, like Esau does, which is totally against because when you go to the real Islam, which is false within itself, all those dudes wear beards, man. But all of a sudden here come Farrakhan, and he got all his men bald and smooth faced, man. All right, wearing bow ties. Okay, that was never part. What do you see the Muslims who started that? Even the sons of Ishmael, man, Muhammad. That dude, he was the so-called prophet of Islam, man, and they wore their traditional dress, and they wore beards. And even when you look at the images of the Moors from the Dark Ages, man. Prior to the Renaissance, when you look at all the images of the Moors, they all had beards, man, and turbans on and dress. They weren't wearing bald, smooth faces. So that in Islam should bring you into question of what's up with this guy, man. All right, but anyway, I'm gonna go into a couple different books. One you've seen before. This one is Blacks in Antiquity with Frank R. Snowden, and I'm actually just gonna get a couple quotes that he wrote that are relevant, because what people tend to do is ignore the facts of art and history, and they'll take a picture and they'll either commit iconoclasm, destroy it, all right, whitewash it, or you'll be looking at an image of a person or a relic that has dark images from a specific time period, but they'll just write whatever they want to write and disregard what you're actually looking at and create a fictional story behind actual true art. So they'll turn the truth into a lie, man, and that's what Esau does. But this is page 2, and I got it highlighted. It says, "Or say that one should not expect to find Negroes in Carthage because the races of North Africa were totally distinct from Negroes of Central Africa." All right, because he's coming with that African thing. But see, you got to remember that the Middle East was all dark, man. The sons of Ham were in what you call the Middle East today. that was the land of Canaan, and Canaan is the son of Ham, and Ham, those are your Africans, your so-called Africans. So they were all dark, man. It was a dark race. The whole Saudi Arabia, Israel, Yemen, all that stuff, those were all sons of Ham. That was Canaan, man. Those were all the sons of Ham. Okay? It says, ignores the literary and archaeological evidence which demonstrates clearly that Negroid types lived not only in sub-Egyptian Africa, but also in various parts of the Greek and Roman world. So they're ignored, because it was just like I was explaining on the street. I had two guys over the weekend, one Edomite and one dude, I think he was Issachar, who thought he knew some history, and he couldn't perceive, his mindset is that was like that of what was displayed on television. When you watch movies displayed by the guys in Hollywood, man, they these Edomites, man, these fake Jewish, man, these Israelis who run Hollywood, man, they'll show you Rome in all their movies from the 40s, 50s, and 60s on up for the most part, and they would show you Rome is all white. And all the characters were white, and the gladiators were white, and everyone was white. What they didn't show you is that Rome was a melting pot of people. It told you all roads led to Rome, man. And that Rome was full of everyone, including the Israelites, who were a dark race of people. And there were Hamites there who were a dark race of people. The people that you refer to as Indians today were there, and they were a dark race of people. And that's just to mention just those few, man. And plus you had the Edomites, the pale faces. So you had all these people mixed in together. It was just like being in modern day New York or Chicago, man. If you were downtown area, man, if you were in Manhattan. All nations and races are going to be there, and Rome was no different, man. Okay? Let's go to page 22. Just to prove a point. Page 22, it says, art in some respect is more valuable than literature or a source of information for anthropological data, because it tells much that the text does not about the amount of pragmatism or its total absence. All right, so basically what it's telling you is that they will lie about, just like the art on this, because it in this book it explains you how Greece goes from dark to white, and how and why that happens, just in this book alone, man. And to give you an example of what I'm talking about, here's a book, all right, and I'm going to go into this book, okay, but I'm just going to give you an example of what art will tell you. I'm going to page 83, and I'm going to show you an image of an artist's depiction that he saw of Native American people, and I want you to pay close attention to her garment. What do you see on her garment? You actually see the shield of David, so-called, on her garment, man. And like we always tell you, that the Native Americans, so-called, all right, are the nation of Gad, of the chosen people of Israel. They're the nation of Gad, man. All right, and that the oldest Assyrian Hebrew Bible was found among a Northern Kingdom tribe on the East Coast, man, not far from New York, in a copper cylinder. And when they opened up that cylinder, it was a Torah written in the Assyrian Hebrew, man. So you got the Assyrian Hebrew, all right, the Paleo Hebrew, also found here, or what most people will refer to as a Phoenician Hebrew, all right, which is the original form, all right. But like you said, the art tells a story that the literature does not. When you look at her garment, you can clearly see that shield, that so-called Star of David on her garment, man. So that's just one example. Go to page 104. Then and how they hid the history. When you go to Jeremiah 50 and 33, how it says Judah and Jerusalem, Israel and Jerusalem were in captivity together, roughly paraphrasing. But they're showing you the enslavement and torture of so-called Native Americans, man. Got the guy tied to the post, beating him. Got the guy on the ground. They're pouring salt into his wounds. He's been beaten. And they tied him face up, and they're beating him from both sides, man, with whips, with many. Look at that, man. Why? And then the ones in the background are being forced to work in the fields and being beaten as well, man. Okay, so let's read what it actually says. It says, a hackneyed portrayal of Spanish brutality and their enslavement of Indian people. All European colonial powers enslaved Indians for profit and labor. And guess what? same thing happened to the Southern Kingdom, man. All right. It says, and this book is by a man called a man named Matthew J. Mancini. Okay, and it's called "One Dies, Get Another." And I'm just gonna read the introduction. All right, and then I'm gonna read a couple of definitions and then get right into the scriptures. But it says, in his seminal study, yeah, I guess that's seminal. I've never seen that word spelt that way. Study of convict leasing in post-Civil War, Matthew J. Mancini chronicles one of the harshest, most exploitive labor systems in American history. Devastated by war, bewildered by peace, and unprepared to confront the problems of prison management, Southern states sought to alleviate the need for cheap labor and perceive the rise of criminal behavior and bankruptcy of their state treasuries. Mancini described the policy of leasing prisoners to individuals and corporations as that, in addition to reducing prison population and the generating revenues, offered a means of racial subordination and labor discipline. He identifies communal commonalities that, despite the seemingly uneven enforcement of convict leasing across the state lines, bound the South together for more than half a century in reliance on institution of almost unrelieved brutality, man. Okay? It says, examining the practice, both regional and state-by-state perspective, Mancini explores convict leasing in Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Virginia. He describes prisoners' daily existence, profiles individuals who leased convicts, and reveals both inhumanity of leasing laws and centrality of race relations in establishing a perpetuation of convict leasing. So I'm going to look up a couple words, man, because it said they forwarded their affliction. At the time when their affliction was over, Esau forwarded it, man. And he created laws that would, to this day, would still, because even though it's been proven statistically, you can Google this, that white youth and young adults do more drugs than Negroes and Latinos, yet they serve the least time for it, as you see. Okay, but let's look up a couple words, man. Let's look up exploitive. Let's look up the word exploitive. All right. So this is exploit, and this is in a Winston Simplified Dictionary, Encyclopedic Edition, 1933. I'm going to read exploit and exploitation. It says, a deed to make use of illegitimately for one's own profit, to put to use selfishly, to turn to account, to utilize, work, brilliant achievement, or heroic deed. Wow. So this is how they looked at it. All right, exploitation, making or getting the value out of anything, to improvement as of lands, work as of minds, etc., the selfish use of things or persons as labors regardless of right. And so they didn't care about your rights as a human being. They forced you to make them rich. And Americans, Edomite Americans, all right, Edomites worldwide, corporations and businesses profited off the labor, the land, the blood, the death, and the suffering of both so-called Negroes and Native Americans, man. All right, as you can see in this book, and then we're going to go into this book. All right, that was the introduction to them both and into this book here. All right, they both were used for the same thing, and that alone makes them fit the prophecies and no other race of people, man. Just that one fact alone. Let me get a couple scriptures now. This is Revelation 14:1-4. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the mount on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads, meaning the name of Yahweh. Okay? And I heard a voice from heaven as a voice of many waters, and a voice of the great number. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, that women, for they were as virgin, that women were philosophies, man, being Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, being understanding you're an Israelite but trying to go the route of being a Jewish. All right, especially if you're Judah. How you going? You're already a Judite, but you're going to become Jewish. I know Jewish. I know a Issacharite who grew up Jewish. Okay. It says, these are they which follow the Lamb, whatsoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and unto the Lamb. Meaning they were the first things created. Going back to Jeremiah, the first chapter, I think 1 and 5, and Ephesians, the first chapter. All right, those were the first spirits created by Yahweh Shai, man. They were there in the beginning, man. Going back to when but anyway, it's that new song. It was sung what before the four beasts? The four beasts being Daniel's vision. We're saying before the Persians, the Babylonians, the Persian Medes, the Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire, which is America. We were in captivity in all those places, and now throughout all those captivities, we're now remembering ourselves. Is basically what I'm trying to convey. All right, and this is the last days of the last days, man. And now the Israelites are waking up. There was a UFC fighter, which the brother from Men of Valor put up a video. One of the brothers from Men of Valor put up a video of this UFC fighter who was proclaiming his Israelite heritage. And then you had the thing in the Olympics where you had I think it was about 3 different Olympians were also visually proclaiming their Israelite heritage, man. As of lately, you had what's his name? I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. About 3 maybe 4 years ago, Chingy did King Judah, man. All right. It's funny you haven't heard much from Chingy since that point, because that's what happens. They try to smother the truth, and once you wake up and you turn against their system, you're blackballed, man. All right. It's like you see these celebrities that wake up and start trying to break the contracts that they made with the devil, and they end up sick, dead, or look at Kanye now. The same thing was done to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle broke down and gave in, man. Chappelle did. All right. But, these guys have made these deals, and now they trying to get out of them. But it's too late for guys like that, man. Okay. Let's see. E40. There's an E40 track out where you got one of them rappers from the Bay Area that's rapping about Abraham and Jacob, man. All right. Brandon T. Jackson. All right. The actor, he woke up to the fact he was an Israelite and started saying it, publicly. And now look at him. His career is going down, man. All right. And then and that UFC fighter is displaying the name of Yahweh in the Assyrian script, man. All right. But a couple more quick scriptures, and I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go to Isaiah 24:16. The battery's about to die on my phone, so I'm trying to, finish this. It says, this is Isaiah 24:16. It says, from the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to righteousness. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yeah, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. So they treacherously hid this truth, man, and tried to tell us that we were Hispanics and Native Americans. We were savages. We were niggas. We were spicks and wetbacks. And it turns out that we are the real children of the Lord. That's the song, man. And then the archaeological evidence and the history comes together and proves it. Okay. So it talks about, when you read Psalms 83, that crafty counsel, man. That's when these nations get together, these leaders, they know who we are, man. All right. There's a collective consciousness of the nations of the other world, no matter how wrong or how correct their doctrines are, but they know who we are, man. It's we that didn't know who we are, So with that, I'm going to say all praises and glory be unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Salutations to you, Akim, out there doing this work in truth and sincerity. Hey, and wake up, Yasharallah, man. Kwam Yasharallah.